Hello, everyone. Everyone should be able to hear me now. Hopefully, sorry about that. A little late. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let's just check and make sure. All right. In the chat, can you guys confirm that confirm if you're hearing me or not, please? In the chat, can you guys confirm that you can indeed hear me? So anyone at all, anyone confirm that you can indeed hear me? Okay. Are we ready now, sir? Yes, we're about to begin in a second. We are about to begin in 1 sec. So let's get the screen shared. Yes, sir, I'm hearing. Perfect. All right, so everyone should be able to see my shared screen in a minute. All right, so everyone should be able to see my shared screen. Right, there we are. Can you guys confirm you are seeing there? No, it's not. Hold on, I don't see it. Okay, there it is. Just saw it come up right here. All right, so everything should be fine. All right, let's get going. Let's just get going. All right, so this performance task is called a play area for school. Right, so general instructions. This task has 4 parts. Read the information in each part carefully, complete the task outlined in part 1, and answer the questions in parts 2, 3, and 4. Right, so the main thing here, people, is that you have to read the information carefully. Before you touch anything, make sure that you read your information carefully. So let's go here now. What does it say? What's the task? The task says the principal of your school has decided to build a play area for the lower school students. She wants to include a sandbox. She has asked you to help her to make some decisions before she begins the construction. You will have to help her to, no, part 1, design the layout for the play area and sandbox. Part 2, calculate the amount of sand needed for the sandbox. Part 3, choose a hardware store from which to buy sand. All right, so those are all the things that we want to do right here. We want to design the layout. We want to calculate the amount of sand that is needed. And then as well, we want to make sure that we choose the perfect, the best store that we can buy or sand from. Right. So that's basically just an overview of exactly what the performance task is. Before you skip the page and start answering anything in the exam, please make sure that you have an understanding of what you are required to do. All right. So again, please make sure that you have a good enough understanding of exactly what you are required to do. All right, let's get moving. So, task 1, part 1, designing the play area. The principal has identified a section of the schoolyard for the play area. Please, people, do not pay attention to some of my incorrect spelling here, please. Right? So please don't pay attention to that. But anyways, so the principal has identified a section of the schoolyard for the play area. It has an area of 120 meters squared. She wants to build a rectangular sandbox in the play area. The table below shows the space required for the sandbox. And you can see all of that right there. Da, 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 da. It tells you that it has an area. It has an area of 120 meters squared. Can anybody in the chat tell me what the mean? Right? Can anybody in the chat tell me what does that mean? When you see the 120 meters squared, the 120 squared meters, can anybody tell me what comes to mind? Like what automatically comes to mind? What do you think of here? Like 120 square meters, even if they never use the word. Once you see squared units, what area of mathematics are we supposed to be thinking of? Can anybody in the chat tell me that quickly before I say what the actual answer is? Right? So can anybody in the chat tell me what that is before I see the actual answer? And by the way, if there's anybody here, if there's anybody in the chat who is also a member of my regular class, you can join me on Zoom. You don't have to use YouTube. You can just join onto our normal Zoom link. Right? You know what the Zoom link is, so you can join on that. All right, so somebody says multiplication. Okay. That is something that can come to mind, yes. But what's the main thing? Once you see squared units, what area of mathematics are we dealing with? What topic in mathematics is it? Again, I see another person saying multiplication. Yes, but where does the multiplication come in? Right? Where does the multiplication come in? Miss Tasha, you don't want to join me on Zoom, Miss Tasha? Join me, yes, ma'am. Join me on regular Zoom. All right, thank you, ma'am. Right, so, all right. So I just saw somebody just say it a while ago. So I just saw it in the chat a while ago. Somebody says area or measurements. All right. Somebody says area or measurements. That is exactly what you're supposed to think about. Area. Squared units, once you see squared unit, it doesn't matter if it's square meters, square liters, square, whatever it is, once it's squared unit, well, it can't be squared liters, but once it's squared units, squared meters, feet, yards, inches, then you are talking about area, you are dealing with area. Can anybody tell me if we're dealing with area, what comes to mind? How do we deal with area? Once you're dealing with area, what formula has to be used? So once you're dealing with area, what formula has to be used? Yes, I'm Miss Mac, like how you're here in Zoom with me here. What would be your answer for that? What formula would we use? Once you're dealing with area, Miss Mac, what formula do we use?
Length times width.
In times width. All right, perfect. So everybody, please make sure you make a note of that. If you get any question talking about squared units, it means we're dealing with area. If you get any question that is dealing with area, then we are going to be doing length multiplied by width. Please make sure that you keep that in mind. So when you see the 120, what should come to mind right here? You should be thinking of different ways how you could probably multiply to get that 120, right? So, we're thinking about something like 60 times 2. You have like 20 times 6, 30 times 4, 40 times 3, all of those different ways right there. All right, so that has to come to mind. So make sure that you keep that in mind. Once you have that in mind, then it will go a far way to helping you to understand how to get the final answer. All right, so again, our area, let me just write that on the screen here. All right, so again, where is it? Okay, here we are. So our area, once we see area, is going to be length times width. So please make sure you keep that in mind. Once you see squared units, Once you see squared units, make sure you think of area. All right. And whenever you're finding area, remember your answer must always be in squared units. Meter squared, centimeter squared, feet squared, unit squared. It does not matter. Just make sure that you remember that. All right, so question A says, use the grid provided to draw the outline of the play area and sandbox. Again, so we're going to be using the grid provided, and I have a grid right there. You guys should have some graph paper at home, right? To outline the play area and sandbox. Be sure to label the sections for play area and the sandbox. Be sure to include their measurements. All right, so let's go here now. So what does it say? It says that, what do we know so far? So we were given two areas, right? We're given two areas. We have the play area, and then we have the sandbox. When we go to the information, there is our information right there. Can anybody tell me what does the 120 square meters, what would that represent? Right, so what would that represent, Miss Mac? The 120 square meters, what do you think that would represent? And everything goes with your information that you get from the question right there. All right. So when we read our
the area of the play area. No, the area of the schoolyard.
The area of the what?
The area of the play area.
Area of the play area. So it says the principal has identified a section of the schoolyard for the play area. It says that it has an area of 120 square meters. So we know for a fact, say the play area 120 square meters. She wants to build a rectangular sandbox. Did they give us any information related to the sandbox?
Yes,
Any
sir.
information related to the sandbox? Yes, and it's right here, people. So use the information that you see. Miss Mac, can you help them? What's the area for the sandbox it is?
48 meters square.
48 squared meters. All right. So everyone, make sure that we understand that. So I see some people saying that the 120 represents the area of the yard. No, it can't be the area of the yard, people. It has to be the area of the play area. All right, so let us get going here now. Remember what you guys told me now. Remember what you told me. You told me that once we're dealing with area, what is the formula that we use? We're going to have to use length times width. So that means that once we're dealing with area, we are also dealing with multiplication, like I saw some persons post in the chat right there. Perfect. So we're going to be dealing with multiplication. So if your play area is 120 meters, what does that then therefore mean? That therefore means that when I multiply the length and the width, I am supposed to get 120 square meters, which means my length times my width, my length and my width, sorry, they both have to be factors of that area right there, which is 120. All right. What does it also say here? It says each square on the grid represents 1 meter square. 1 square meter. So each square. So if you get a question like this, you also need to keep it in mind. So if each square has an area which is 1 centimeter squared, that means that when I multiply the length and the width, I would have gotten 1. Who can figure out what number would the length have to be or the width have to be in order for my area to end up to be 1? Miss Mac,
the length would have to be 1 and the width would have to be 1.
And the width would have to be 1. So what does that now therefore mean? If I draw an example of one of those squares as per se, it means that right here is 1 and right here is 1. It means right there is 1 and right there is also 1. So again, this is something very important that we have to keep in mind, right? That we have to keep in mind. So let's go here now. the first thing you need to do is to figure out what are we going to use? What are the dimensions that we're going to use for our play area? So before we can draw it, we need to figure out the play area. So let us count up how many boxes we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. One, and then if we're going the other direction, so if we're going the other direction, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take this off the screen. Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. All right. So I have 26 going up. I have 19 going across. That means I should be able to get my play area. The play area as an area of 120 meters squared. You realize the question did not tell us exactly how it is supposed to be. It did not give us anything as far as the dimensions are concerned. So what does that mean? That means that you have the opportunity to use whatever dimensions you want to, as long as it is able to work. And what do I mean by it is able to work? It means as long as I am able to basically get that on my grid. All right. So as long as I am able to get that on my grid, can you people put in the chat here now? Give me some different dimensions that we can use. Right. So give me some different dimensions that we can use to get that area of 120 squared meters. Right. And I will choose a couple of them also. So if we want the play area, so this is our play area. The play area is supposed to have 120 square meters. Can somebody tell me now, give me some options that we can use for length and width? Give me some options we can use for length and width. All right, so 12 times 10. All right, and I'm looking in the chat here as well. All right, in Zoom, not Zoom, sorry, in YouTube, looking in the chat in YouTube for answers as well. So 12 times 10 is one of them perfect, Miss Barrett and Miss Mac. Anybody else? Is it only 12 times 10? Any other? Is 12 times 10 the only two numbers you can multiply and get the 120? No other numbers? No other options? What about this one right here? 20 times 6. Right. So people, we have to be able to think outside the box as well. All right. What about this option right here? 40 times 3. What about this option right here? 30 times 4. What about this option right here? I'm giving you as many different options as we can look at. We have 15 times 8. So all of those are different options that we could use as far as being able to multiply them and get, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot one. Thank you there, Miss Mac. 60 times 2. All right, yes, Mr. Emil, I saw that 8 times 50, Mr. Emil, that's perfectly correct as well. Right, so 60 times 2. All right, so remember now, what you do in the exam is directly related to the information that you were given. I'm going to ask some questions now. Can I use this one? I want everyone to try to figure out why those 3 options that I just highlighted. Is there anyone who can figure out why would it be impossible to use those 3 dimensions? So I'll give you a minute to think about that. And then you can write your answers in the chat or give me or answer me same time, right? So why, so out of those 6 options that are on the screen, why is it that those 3 would not be possible options that we can use? And remember what I always tell you, everything that we do depends on whatever we are given. So anything that we do depends on whatever is given. All right, so again, anything that we do depends on whatever is given. All right, so looking in the chat right here, so Miss Mac says that they can't be used because they cannot fit on the grid. All right, Remember, the first thing that we did was to count up the amount of boxes or things that we have on the grid. Perfect as well, Mr. Emil. When I was counting up the grid, I realized that it is 26 this way. So I have a total of 26 here, and I have a total of 19 right here. Right? And I have a total of 19 right there. So if we look at each of these, 40, that definitely cannot hold on the grid. 30, that definitely cannot hold on the grid. 60, that definitely cannot hold on the grid. So that means that these are our three options. These are our three options. And I need you guys to choose the option that you're going to use. That's the play area. Let's look at the next one. This is now sandbox. So now sandbox. What is the area for the sandbox? The area for the sandbox is 48 squared units. Can you guys do the same thing? So the same thing that we just did. And again, you realize, oh no, I'm going to touch the grid. Before I touch the grid, I am making sure that I'm working out everything before I touch the grid to make sure that I don't need to touch it and then have to rub out anything. So 48 squared units. Can you guys tell me here now what are the dimensions that we can use? Can I get all the possible dimensions in the chat here, please? All the possible dimensions. All right, let's see. Okay, I'm getting some different ones here. And by the way, for the persons who are interested in joining in the actual Zoom session, I am going to send the Zoom link in the chat. Please still keep your YouTube up, right? Still keep the YouTube up so we can still have the views, but I am posting the Zoom link. I am posting the Zoom ID. So if you want to join in Zoom, and obviously in Zoom it's kind of a little bit faster because there's a delay before you guys hear it here before you guys hear it on YouTube. Right? So there I sent the Zoom ID. So anybody who wants to join, you are free to all enter that Zoom ID and join, where you can participate a lot easier. You can actually participate with your voice here, where you can ask me actual questions and everything here. All right, so let's continue. So based on what I'm seeing in the chat here, I see 8 times 6, that's 1. I also see 12 times 4, that's another, And people, we need to know as many as possible of these things. There's also 16 times 3. There is also 24 times 2. And obviously, there is also 48 times 1. So these are all the different options. And again, people, I sent the Zoom ID. You can join on here. All right. So what I need you guys to do for me now is to choose. So you're going to choose, sir, my friend, So you're going to choose. What are you going to choose? You need to choose the dimensions that you're going to use for the play area first. And then based on those dimensions, use that to decide what dimensions you're going to use for the sandbox that can go along with the one that you chose for the play area. All right, so again, let me give you a minute. Let me give you a minute to decide which one you're going to use. Because again, remember, whatever your dimensions are for your play area, whatever the dimensions are for the sandbox, it can hold. Right? It can hold. It has to be able to hold on the inside there. Right? All right. So everybody should have their options there now. So let me choose the one that I am going to use. There is nothing that says you have to use A. There is nothing that says you have to use B. Use any one at all you would like. So again, There's nothing that says you have to use A. There's nothing that says you have to use B. Use whichever one you like. Just make sure again that everything is gelling. All right, just make sure that everything is gelling, because the worst thing is to go on the grid, start drawing what you're drawing, and then afterwards you realize, oh, hold on, but this can't hold, and then you have to go rub out and you realize that all you just did is just basically wasted your time. All right, all you just did was just basically wasted your time. So let's get going here now. So I am going to choose, I'm going to use 20 and 6. That's what I'm going to use for my play area. And for my sandbox, I'm going to use 16 times 3. So those are my dimensions. Again, there is nothing that says you have to use this one or you have to use that one. Just make sure that anyone that you choose can hold. All right. So again, just make sure anyone you choose can hold. Right. All right. So let me draw that now. So I use 20 and 6. So I'm using 20 and 6. And what's the other number that I'm using as well? 16 and 3. So again, like all of you grade 6 students should have access to some graph paper close by. All right. So you should have access to some graph paper close by. So you should now be able to put this on the grid right here. Let me change the color of this so that it is easier to show. So since mine says 20 and 6, since mine says 20 and 6, I have to have 20 by 6. So that is 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. So based on that is my 20 by 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my 20 by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is my play area. I need to use a different color. I don't think that is showing so perfect. And let me kind of get this a little bit more darker as well. So let's try again. All right, yes. So the red is showing a lot better. The red is showing a lot better. All right, so there we are. And then remember here now that for my sandbox, it was 16 by 3. So 2, 3, 4. So 16 gonna be right here, 16 by 3. And it don't have to itch up on it or anything. You just have to just make sure that you have it within the confines of your play area. Da, 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 da. Remember what the question says, right? And make sure you follow the instructions. Be sure to label the sections for play area and sandbox. Be sure to include their measurements. So what does that mean? I need to put in play area right here, right? It might not be so perfectly clear because of the grid that I'm using, but your grid, you should have it perfect. You should have it on your graph paper. It should look clear for you. And then right here, no, you would put sandbox in here. Remember, it says that you're supposed to put the measurements. So down here would have been my 6 meters. Down here would be my 6 meters because it's 20 by 6. And then right here, so now this would now be our 20. And remember, you have to follow the instructions. So if the instruction says you're supposed to put it in, then you have to put it in. All right, next. What about the sandbox? What is my dimensions for the sandbox? And remember, do not use the numbers that I am using if you don't have the same numbers. So if you are using different things, do not put my numbers there by mistake. Put your numbers there, whatever number you have. So this is 16 by 3, right? And so there I have that, right? So everybody should have that right there. No, let me give you a minute. Let me give you a minute to finish up what you're doing, because you should have your ruler and everything. You should have your instruments, because again, if you're going to a math class or you're doing maths, you should have your instruments. You must have your instruments. You must be prepared, right? So I'm assuming here that everybody is finishing up their drawing and try to draw as quickly as they can there. Right, so 20 by 6, I have 16 by 3. If you don't have graph paper, you can probably just draw a quick little sketch of what I have and just follow along using the same information that I have. All right. I would like for other persons to be using some of the other options just so that you can see the differences that can happen depending on the options that you have. But of course, people, I don't have a long time today and you know the exam is tomorrow, so we still just gotta do what we gotta do. All right, so we still just got to do what we got to do. All right, so let's get going here now. Those are my drawings. I would have gotten everything correct for part 1. Let's move. Part 2, it now says designing the sandbox. All right, so can anybody tell me when they say sandbox, what comes to mind? What are you supposed to think of? Sandbox. When they say designing the sandbox, no, sandbox, what are you supposed to think of? What comes to mind? Can anybody tell me what will be coming to mind here? Hmm? When you see sandbox, when they mathematics, what did you learn in mathematics that you think the sandbox is going to relate to? Anybody? Anybody here in Zoom? Mr. Christopher, Miss Tasia, Miss Mac? When you see sandbox, box, and the key word there is box, think about what a box is. When you think about what a box is a what? It starts with a S. It starts with an S and it's not shape. It starts with an S. I know for the persons who are here in Zoom, it makes no sense for you to be here in Zoom and you're going to be answering me in the chat. That makes no sense. It's better you just stay in a YouTube and done. If you're going to be here in Zoom, then you need to answer the questions, like literally answer the question. So yes, what are you saying now, man? What are you thinking about? You said what, surface area? Okay, that not bad. Surface area. Is there any other thing that comes to mind? Anything else that comes to mind apart from just surface area? So when you think of that, what else comes to mind apart from surface area, man? You did say the other part. Yes, Mr. Christopher. Yes, Mr. Christopher, what are you saying?
Volume.
Volume, all right. Volume, cool. And then can anybody tell me when you think about a box is a what? It starts with a S. S-O-L. It is a what? S-O-L-I. What word is this? It is a what? A solid. Once I hear them talk to you about a box, so like cardboard box, sandbox, any box kind of thing, that means they're talking about a solid. If they're talking about a solid, that means they're either talking about volume or you're talking about surface area, right? So keep those things in mind. Let's move on now. The principal wants to make sure that the students have enough sand to play in. Based on her research, she found out the following. The sand in the box should be 25 centimeters deep. So the sand in the box should be 25 centimeters. Top of the sandbox and the top of the sand, as shown in the diagram below, and I have the diagram below, should be 5 centimeters and 5 centimeters to 10 centimeters, not but 5 centimeters to 10 centimeters. The first thing they want us to figure out is what is the height of your sandbox? What is the height of your sandbox written in meters? Show your working. Right, and again, and here is the diagram that they're talking about here. No. All right, so here's the diagram that they're talking about. Right, so remember what it says. It says the sand in the sandbox must be 25 centimeters deep. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So the sand in the sandbox must be 25 centimeters deep. The distance between the top of the sandbox and the top of the sand should be between 5 centimeters to 10 centimeters. And what that then therefore means now here is that there are different options that you can have for the height of your sandbox. Right? So the sanding that should be 25 deep, and the distance between the top of the sandbox and the top of the sand should be either 5, somewhere between 5 to 10. So let us get thinking here now. When they tell us that the sand in the sandbox should be 25 centimeters deep, what do they mean? That they mean that from the bottom right here, all the way up to wherever the sand reaches right here is going to be how much? That's going to be, what's the distance there? That is 25 centimeters. All right. What else did they tell us? What else did they tell us? What else did they tell us? They told us that the top of the sandbox and the top of the sand, it should be between what? 5 to 10. So that means is either we're going to add 5 to that, or we're going to add 6, or we're going to add 7, or 8, or 9, or 10. So that means basically the answer can be anywhere from this to this. All right. So the answer can be anywhere from 30 centimeters to 35 centimeters. For the purpose of what we're doing here, I'm just going to use the 35 centimeters. All right. So I'm just going to use the 35 centimeters.
So I can use 31 too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I said for the case of what I am doing, I can use 35. That's the reason why I just said that. I said your answer can be anywhere from 30 to 35. So if I say from 30 to 35, it means I can use 31, 32, 33, 34 as well. You are the one who decides. And that's the thing about the performance task. A lot of times they will give you questions that have different options. What that means that it's not one dege answer alone you can use. There are different options for answers that we can use. So if you have 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, or 35, you will be correct. Them still with a mark correct. Next, part B now says, what is the height of your sandbox written in what? Written in meters. What is the height of your sandbox written in meters? So what are they asking us to basically do right here? Okay. Hold on, let me put this here. I have 20 there, I have 6 there. But what are they asking us to do? When they ask us to write it in meters, what are they asking us to do? It's a C word. They're asking us to convert. Right? Whenever you're doing metric conversion, the little stairs are supposed to, these little stairs supposed to be in your mind. A, H, D, B, E, C, M. All right. So they say to convert it written in meters. What are we going to be converting? For this question, what are we converting? What to what?
Centimeters to meters.
Centimeters to meters. I don't want anybody to mix up and think that the meters is right there where the M is. No, that M represents milli. Meters is right here at B. In my stairs, the B represents what I call the base unit. All right. And if you talk about centimeter, millimeter, meter, the base unit is meter. So meter is at B. Where is centi? What letter represents centi?
C.
C. All right. So let's go here now. Which direction am I going? Am I going up the stairs or am I going down the stairs?
You're going from a smaller unit to
No,
a
no,
larger
no,
unit.
no, no. Answer the question that I am asking. I never asked you nothing about that a while ago. Answer what me ask you. I said, are we going to go up the stairs or are we going to go down the stairs?
We're going up the stairs.
We're going up the stairs, and answer when me ask you. I don't want you talk nothing about no bigger this and no smaller that. We don't care about that. We just want to care about if I up we go or if I down we go. So we're going up the stairs. When you go up the stairs, the operation is going to be
division.
What? I just wrote it on the screen. What's the operation when we go up? It's gonna be division. Remember, hold on. I see some people in the chat saying that we're going down the stairs. No, people. Let me zoom in. For those persons who weren't seeing what is happening right here. So let me zoom in. We are going up the stairs. Right? So we are going up the stairs. All right. What are we converting, people? We're converting from what to what? From centi to meters. Where is centi? Centi is at C. Where is meters? Meters is at B. So just walk on the stairs. If you're going from C to B, you must go this way. So you must go up the stairs. All right. And you can use these stairs to help you people. So for anybody who have problem with conversion, they can use these stairs to help you. All I need to know is that when you go up the stairs, you divide. When you go down the stairs, you multiply. All right. All you need to figure out is how many jumps. So how many jumps am I going to take to move from C to B? Let's count. 1, 2. All right. Do you know what this means? It jumps. Jumps represent powers of 10, which is also representing the number of zeros. So let me ask you a question. How many jumps did I just take?
2.
2 jumps. So how many zeros? How many zeros is the number going to have? 2. And if it have 2 zero, what number am I using? 100. All right. And what am I supposed to do with the 100? What operation? Division or multiplication? Division. So you see how simple we just figure out if we're supposed to divide or multiply and what number we're supposed to divide or multiply by. We're dividing because we're going up the stairs. We're dividing by 100 because we took 2 jumps up the stairs. So let's go now. It is 35 centimeters that we are converting to meters. So it's a 35 that we need to divide by 100. But what happens here? When you divide by 100, when you divide by a power of 10, what direction do you go in? Do you go to the left? All right. All right. So to the left. And how many jumps am I going to take?
2.
How many jumps to the left? 2. How we know it's 2? Because it's 2 zeros. So let's go. 1, 2. So what's my answer right here? 0.3535 meters. Right. So 0.35 meters. Right, so 0.35 meters, and I see a lot of persons in the chat in YouTube. Is that correct? And everything that you guys see me doing right here, if you get a performance task based on measurements with this, you can do. It's all those repeats of thinking. I tell us every time you say square meter, you must think about area, and if you think about area, you must think about length times which is some sort of multiplication. Please keep that in your mind. Remember as well, if them give you a question and they give you more than one unit. Example, if them give you meter and centimeter, meter and whatever, you cannot compare them unless they are in the same units. So you can't say which one bigger or which one smaller unless they're in the same units. And you can't work out nothing to do with them unless they are in the same units. So that convert them and bring them in the same units. If you have any conversion to make as far as metric units, use these stairs right here. Very easy to understand. Going up, division, going down, multiplication, and just count the amount of steps that you will take. So let me ask you a question. If I am going to convert 5 kilometers to millimeters, for the answer, let me see who can give me the answer the quickest here. Using the stairs where you see in front of you. So see the stairs here? Using our stairs. Yeah. What's your answer, sir? What do you think of the answer? 5 how much?
5.
Sir, what did you say? You said 5,000? Nah, here is a good Mr. Chris. Oh, you said 5,000. What do you think, Miss Mac? What do you think, Miss Mac? What about you, Miss Parsons? And remember what I said, if you are here in Zoom, then you're going to have to participate. You're not here to just sit down in Zoom. Miss Mac, what is your answer for that? You also think it's 5,000? You say 50,000? All right. By the way, Miss Mac here at school, because I'm sure I hear some people in the background, like some of your other friends them as well. And not a problem, though. Miss Parsons, what about you? Miss Parsons, what about you? What's your answer to that question? What's your answer to that question? And again, if you're going to be here in Zoom, and I sent the Zoom link, if you're going to be here in Zoom, you can't be here in Zoom and you're not going to participate. But it's better you just go back to YouTube then, Miss Parsons. It makes no sense for you to be here in Zoom then if this is all you come here to come do. All right, let's get going here now. So, using the principle, are we going up the stairs or down the stairs? Remember, kilometer to millimeter, upstairs, down the stairs. All right, so does that mean multiplication or division? Multiplication or division? All right, so 5, we have to multiply. And then what number am I going to multiply by? How many jumps? Count with me now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And since it is 6 jumps, what power of 10 has 6 zeros? What power of 10 has 6 zeros? What number is that? That is 1 million. All right. And Miss Mac, your voice sounds very, 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 very low. I can hardly hear you. Miss Parsons, do not use the chat. Open your mouth and speak, please. You are in Zoom. Use the opportunity and the fact that you're here in Zoom and I can hear you and I can answer you same time, whatever you need to ask. Unmute your mic and answer what you need to answer. So my answer right there is 5 million millimeter. Let me check YouTube to see how many persons got that. All right, Mr. Emil. Mr. Emil. All right, Mr. Emil, I saw that correct there, sir. Well done, sir, Emil. Well done. You know, we don't expect anything less than that, of course. When I see you later up at our tutoring center, I'll give you a big up for that. So well done. And I saw a couple more persons there as well. I just resent the Zoom ID because some persons were asked about it. But just remember, if you're going to be joining on Zoom, you have to participate, meaning some need to hear your voice, not just using the chat like YouTube. I need to hear your actual voice. All right, so this is 0.35 meters. Let's continue now, people. Next question now. It then says, based on your design in part 1 and the information in the missing measurements in meters. Well, so obviously, so the long side is going to be the 20, obviously. The width is going to be 6 because that is what I use. Remember, that is what we had on our grid. So anything you choose right here, so no, you have to go use that right here, so no. So I have my 20, I have my 6, and remember, we worked out that the height would have been 0.35 meters. Let's continue. All right. Next thing here now, can anybody tell me now, before I go on that page, whenever we see anything like this, what should come to mind? Whenever you see a 3 up here, what does that represent?
Cube.
It represents that we're dealing with what now?
Cube.
Volume. Yeah. It means volume. If you want to see the 3 up here, what it represents cubic units. And cubic units have to do with what? Volume. And once we are talking about volume, what formula are we once we're dealing with
Length times height.
So people, you see that now, before me even answer anything, you see, just because I see this alone, all of them things are supposed to be in your mind. You see, just because you see this cubic meters cube, you need to think about all of this. Make sure you set this in your mind, because in order for me to get this, Guess if I did what? So let's go again. The only way I can get an answer that has meters cube is if I use what formula? Is if I use what formula? Come on, people, pay attention to my screen here, no, man. In order for us to get cubic meters cube, we
Length times
have
width
to
times
use
height.
what formula? Length times width, and that's why I am highlighting it right there. So please, people, make sure you remember that. If them asking nothing about cubic units, meters cube, centimeter, no matter which cubic unit they're asking you about, once they ask you about cubic units, make sure you know that this formula has to be used some way, somehow. So let's go here now. So how much sand in meters cube will be needed for the sandbox? Hey, show all of your working. So what are they asking me for? This meters cube, I'm finding the what? Finding the, what does that V stand for? I have to find the volume. All right, but what are we finding? The volume what? The volume of the? The volume of the sand, all right? In order for us to find volume, it don't matter if a volume of sand, volume of water, volume of shoes, volume of cloud, volume of dust, volume of breeze. Once you realize that you deal with volume, what formula we have to use? The length times the width times the height. All right, perfect. Let's get going here now. What length, width, and height am I going to use? What's the length? What's the length that we're gonna have to use? Length is gonna be, and remember they say in
20.
meters, so 20 meters. Okay, what's the width?
6.
6. What's the height?
35.
Wrong. I know you guys are gonna say 0.35. Nah, think. Look at this. What does the question ask you? How much what?
Sand.
So think, go back to what with the right. The information you need to answer this. All right. The information you need to answer this. You're right. Right. So talk to me now. What is the height of the sun? What them tell me about the sun? The sun's supposed to be what?
25 centimeters deep.
All right, so it's 25 centimeters deep, and if it's 25 centimeters deep, so what did I just tell you about when you have different units? This is centimeter, but the question I deal with meters. Where you have to once you see that. You have to convert. All right, hold on. Let us go back. Let us go back to right here. What are we converting? Isn't it the same centimeters to meters? And how do we convert centimeters to meters? What do? We multiply, my girl. Multiply. Now, what did we do? Divide by 100. All right, but let me ask you a question here. What are we gonna be dividing by 100? What is the height of the sun in centimeters? How many centimeters?
25 centimeters.
25. So what do we do to this 25 to convert it to meters? We divide it by 100. All right. Somebody tell me the answer. How many meters we gonna get? 0.25 meters. Sorry, 0.25 meters. What do I do now? How do I get the final answer now? What do I do? So tell me what to multiply now. Tell me what to multiply now. 20 times 6 times
25.
and everybody multiply that. And remember, you cannot use a calculator in the exam, so I need everybody to multiply that the long way. I'll give you the time. May I give you me you can't multiply something like this in a 1 minute, you can't dark. Come on, people, simple multiplication. No calculator, you can't use that in the exam. Do the actual multiplication. Remember, people, when you're multiplying by a decimal, for the persons who don't know, take out the decimal point. So what it basically means is that you basically going to multiply 20 times 6 times 25. Then when you're done, you need to make sure so you have two number behind the point when you finish. Put back in the point when you're done and make sure so there are two numbers that behind the point when you're done. All right. So so send your answer in the chat as soon as you get that. I'm giving you a minute. I saw somebody put an answer of 4,200 as the volume. That is not correct. And you should realize that you're not correct because what I realized is that first and foremost, you were using the 35. And secondly, you were multiplying the 20 by the 6 by the 35. You can't do that. Remember, the 35 was centimeters. You can't multiply centimeters and meters. You have to convert everything to either centimeters or convert everything to meters. I see one answer so far in the chat. Okay, I'm waiting a little bit more. Waiting a little bit more, sir. And by the way, let me just explain another thing for you guys here. Remember, you are doing volume. What does that mean about the answer? Since you're doing volume, the answer has to what? Has to be in what? Has to be expressed in what unit? Where you have to use.
Meter cubed.
Well, yeah, meters cube are, we prefer to say cubic meters. So, and if a meters them use, whatever them use, if a units, if a meters, if a liters, it don't matter. Cubic units. So for all the persons in the chat, who are telling me 30, that is wrong. For all the persons in the chat who say 30, that is wrong. If you did not say 30 meters cube or 30 cubic meters, then your answer is wrong. And in the performance task, if you go there and all you write is 30 meters, you're going to get it wrong. Well, either them give it totally wrong or they might not so wicked and they might give a little bit of marks, sweet or so. But you can't get full marks for that. So let's go here now. Let us multiply. So firstly, 20 times 6, that's 120. Then I'm going to multiply this by 25. Now, when you're in grade 6, I shouldn't need to teach you how to multiply. 5, 0, 0, 5, 2 is 10, carry the 1, 5, 1, 5, and that is 6. Put the 0 there, then 2 times 0, 2 times 2, 4, 2 times 1, 2. I now add everything together. I get 3,000, but remember, you were multiplying by a decimal. So it's two numbers behind the point, two numbers behind the point. My volume is 30 cubic meters. All right. Next, part B. I am giving you 1 minute to figure that out as well. So I am not saying anything. It says a bag of sand contains 0.5 cubic meters of sand. How many bags of sand will you need to buy for your sandbox? Show all your working. Again, I'm giving you a minute to try to determine that on your own. Think it out. You have to be able to read a question and determine what operation to use based on what you're being asked to find, right? And it says, how many? You see that phrase right there? How many? How many? How many bags of sand do you need for your sandbox? That's the special phrase right there. How many? So I'm looking in the chat here. The first thing I want is for people to tell me how, what operation, and then you can tell me the answer if you work it out already too. But what operation? Let's start with that one. And for the persons in Zoom, just send it in the chat. Don't ball it out. Me know why you tell the people them in YouTube. So just write your answer in the chat for that. right? The person's in YouTube, let me see your answers there now. And for the persons who are saying that they're using a laptop and they can't write like the little cube or the little 2 or the little 3, remember this. All right, so just remember this. This is called cubic centimeters. So you don't have to write the 3, you can write cubic centimeters. Like, so if you're writing the answer, you could have written that. This is called squared centimeters. Right? So squared units, cubic units. Because I see some people in the chat writing 30 meters squared. People, squared is only used for area. Only, and again, I will repeat this, only used for area. Cubic is only used for volume, and people, that means you have not been paying attention. Let me just go back up here quickly, because one of the first things I did, and for the persons who were late here, you have all the information. There's my number, there's my email. We have, for the persons who do not either come to my Sunday classes, my Sunday PEP class, or do not come to my tutoring center, you can call or email me if you're interested. If you're interested in coming to the my Sunday PEP online class or coming to my tutoring center or so. Anyways, so the first thing I did right here, see here and people, I always break down everything. I told you earlier that if it's area alone, use these things. I told you square units, area. I did say that. And again, I spoke about all of that, right? All of that. And when I was right here, again, I spoke about this, the fact that if you're dealing with volume, which is length times width time, are 3 things you multiply. The easy thing for know are 3 things you multiply. The number support, the power supposed to be 3. That's why, because it's 3 things that you multiply. So the answer is 30 cubic meters. Let me check the chat now and check that. You would divide, and the answer I got was 6 bags. Okay. 6. Hey, could you type the meeting ID in the chat? All right, I'm sending the meeting ID again. And Mr. Shai just sent it out a while ago. I am sending the meeting ID again. Person who got 6, that wrong. For all the persons who got 6, that is definitely not right. That means you can't divide. So for all the persons who got 6, that means you can't divide. That means you cannot divide. And that is not a good look at all, my people, man. Not a good look. But let's get going here now. So the operation is division. That part of it is perfectly correct. All right. So the operation is division. And again, remember, people, if you're joining, and remember again, people, if you're joining Zoom, make what? No. Remember, if you're joining Zoom, you need to make sure that you're ready to come and participate, my peoples. All right, let's continue again here now. So, all the persons who tell me that they got 6, you can't divide, and you can't be going into the exam and can't divide by decimal. So, the persons who said that we're supposed to divide, that is perfectly correct. So, you see the 30, I need to divide this by 0.5 because I am trying to figure out how much time I can take 0.5 out of 30. First and foremost, 0.5 is also a half. So if you can't divide by a decimal and you know fractions, you could have also used the fraction method. So let's go.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir? Christopher is saying that he doesn't understand why you're dividing, and he's saying that you should convert.
Convert? Convert
Yeah.
what?
Answer.
Why would you convert? There is nothing to convert here, sir. Mr. Christopher, think about this now. Let me ask this. right? So think about this now. Oh boy, what can I? All right, because you're a boy, so most likely you probably play all game or them kind of thing. Let us go here. Let us say that you're playing Call of Duty, right? Let's say you're playing Call of Duty. You have RP. Let us say that you have the total amount of RP is 1,000 RP, right? You're there, right, Mr. Christopher? You're hearing me, right, sir? Please make sure you are hearing me. Suppose, so it says a bag of sand. Suppose $1 give you 2 RP. How much money? How much money you gonna need if you can get 1,000 RP? So remember, I know $1 for every $1 a 2 RP give. How you would have figured out how much money? Which operation you would have used to figure that out? Sir? What operation would you use to figure that out? Would you multiply that? Would you add? Would you subtract? No, we would use division. It's the same type of principle here. Whenever you want to figure out how much of one thing I can take out of another, you use division. Remember, division is basically sharing up. I don't have a mic, so da, 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 da. All right, so let's go here now. We are dividing. Remember, you cannot, and this is where you people go wrong. This is what most of you people do. When you just put 5 right there, and that is wrong. Is 0.5 that you're dividing by. You cannot divide by a decimal. Whenever you're dividing by a decimal, you convert the decimal to a whole number. So I take one jump there, that gives me 5. And I take one jump there, so that gives me 300. So 5 into 300, no, 5 into 3, I can't. 5 into 36, that gives me that. 5 into 0, 0. So my answer is 60 bags. Or we can use division. How do you divide by a fraction? Change the division to multiplication and then reciprocate. So see it there now, 30 times 2 is 60 over 1, 60 over 1 is 60. So the answer is 60 bags. 60 bags, my people. All right. Let's get moving. Part 4 now, it says buying sand for the sandbox. And everybody, please make sure you make a note of the information you have here. Remember, performance task, everything follows each other. So everything follows along. So we got 60 bags for the last answer. Let us see how that can help us next. So next, it now says buying sand for the sandbox. There are 2 questions in this part, 4A and 4B. Read each carefully. So 4A, there are 2 hardware stores that sell sand by the bag. So they sell sand by the bag. The principal needs to decide which store to buy the sand from. The price and delivery costs are given in the table below. There you have your table below. From which hardware should the principal buy the sand? Give reasons for your answer. So you have all of the information that we're working with so far. So you can go there, try to figure it out. So figure that out and then send me your answer in the chat there. Figure that out. So I'll give you a couple minutes to try to figure this out. So I'll give you enough time to try to figure this out now. So based on everything that we have done so far, don't forget the amount of sand we have. And don't forget how much bags of sand them say we are going to need for buy. All right? Don't forget how many bags of sand they say that we're going to need to buy. BG 6. The person who's using the blue, I don't understand what that 6 is for, because it can't be the question that will pass long time. All right, so I'm not sure what that 6 is for, because I'm sure we kind of passed that part already. So again, for everyone, try to figure this out here now. Read it properly using the information that you have already garnered, right? And please, people, make sure you're interpreting the table properly. So item, and see the items come under the part for item. Kumars, that means this goes with right here. And then this, the information for that is down here. The principal should use Kumars because it is cheaper. So somebody says Kumars is cheaper. I don't know. What do you think, people? What do you think, everyone? Somebody says Kumars is cheaper. What do you think? What do you think? And we are gonna and obviously we're gonna work it out, of course. You know that already. Let's work this out now, my people. So let's work this out now. And remember, you see a question like this, you cannot assume. So you have to work it out and show. I think Kumar is cheaper. You can't tell the people them say you think it's cheaper. It's either one of them cheaper or the other not cheaper. It's either one of them cheaper than the other. And there's an easy way for us to know. We don't have to guess. So if the question says to explain it, you can't talk about I think. All right. Miss Parsons, you can't talk about I think. You have to talk with your chest. Talk like you're sure about what you're talking about. You're sure. Yeah, so that is definitely the answer, right? Don't make it sound like a something where you have to guess. But let's get going here now. So Kumars. Let's start with Kumars. So what do we know about Kumars? They tell us 400 per bag, and the delivery is 5,000. So let us deal with the sun. Right? So it is 400 per bag. Remember, the word per represents one. So that means a $400 for one bag. But how many bags are we supposed to buy, people?
60.
How many bags are we supposed to buy? 60. All right. I don't understand why people are talking about converting. Why are people talking about converting? Why are people talking about converting? We are dealing with working out the amount of money. Why are people talking about conversion, metric conversion? Now, we not doing a metric conversion. Now, we passed that long time. We passed the conversion part them long time. So I don't understand why people are still saying metric conversion. Right? We passed that part long time, people. So not sure why people are still saying that. But anyways, let's go here now. So yes, how many bags? It is 60 bags. So if it is 400 per bag, it means a 400 for one bag, but a 60 bag, da 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 da. Can somebody tell me what do we get when we multiply that? How much money do we get for that? 400 times 60.
24,000.
24,000. Miss Gordon, Miss Maureen Gordon, I don't understand. I don't understand what I'm trying kind of make me understand, please. I don't understand what's happening, please. Base unit, all of that, like, I don't understand where you're going or where you're coming from here. Because we already passed that part a long time. All right, so people focus. Let's go here now. So that's 24,000 for the sand, but then we also have to pay a delivery. How much is it for a delivery at Kumar's?
5,000.
5,000. So what is the total amount now? What's the total? So the total is, how are we going to get the total now for Kumar's? We do what to the two amount of money, then we're now going to have to add them together, right? When we add them together now, what do we get? Perfect, Mr. Emil? 29,000. All right, Mr. Emil, perfect, 29,000. Next, for construction one stop, there are two options. Which one are we supposed to use? The $500 or the $450? Which one are we going to pay? How much are we going to pay? 500 per bag? Why are you going to pay 450? Oh, you know, so.
450 because it's more than 30. 30
it's
bags.
more than 30 bags. Oh, you know, say more than 30 bags again. I guess that already work it out.
We worked it out in the part before.
Work it out. That's what we need to understand about when you're going to that performance task tomorrow. Right? Whenever you're answering a question, you need to understand that most likely the information where you get already is going to help you to do what you need for the know. So we already work out, say, a 60 bag. So because of that now, me know, say, me not going to pay 500 because the 500 is if you're buying what? Less than 30. But because I am buying more than 30, I am going to pay how much? 450 per bag. All right, no problem. So this is for one stop. So for the sand, we're paying a cost of 450 per bag. It is 60 bags. How much money for the sand right there? How much money that? How much is that?
0.
How much? Come on, multiplying just normal multiplication. Somebody says 27,000. Do we agree with 27,000?
Yes, sir.
Yes, all right. So 27,000. All right, perfect. So 27,000. Bam, 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 bam. And then what else? What else do we have to pay? We also have to pay for the delivery. And how much is the delivery?
$3,000.
3,000. All right. So total now. And you don't know how we're going to find the total already. What do you get for the total?
30,000.
And so based on all of this now, what you now have to answer the question. The question says, from which hardware should the principal buy the sand? What will be your answer for that?
Kumar's hardware store.
And they say state a reason. What is your reason for that?
Because it is cheaper than one stop.
And remember this, when you're answering these questions, make sure that you use proper sentences. So the principal should buy the sand from Kumar's hardware. This is due to the fact that the cost at that hardware is cheaper. All right, perfect. Okay, perfect. Perfect. One question remaining now. Final question now, people. Final question. And again, don't worry about my bad spelling. I don't even know which word this might put on the screen. I don't even know what word that is because that could never be hardware. That word could never. Oh. Hold on, the people. I don't know what the sat now. Hold on, my. My program just crashed a while ago. Sorry, give me a sec. Sorry, my program just crashed. What is that? Why? Hold on. I still see it. Well, I don't know. It is gone on my screen here, so I'm not sure how you're still seeing it. But don't worry, it is coming up back right now. I'm getting it up back quick and fast here. Getting it up back quick and fast. Sometimes that happens due to the internet because the rain is falling, so the internet is kind of dropping. Kind of it's due to the internet. So I am back here now. I might have lost the working of part of it. All right, there we are. Perfect. Or hopefully it never gone too far. All right, so we still have all of that information there. All right, we have our 60 bags. And we already work out this. We already work out what we were saying about this part already. 30,000, it is cheaper. Final question now, my peoples. Again, I will leave you to answer this. So final question here now. So there are two hardware stores that sell sand in cubic meters. So this question was dealing with the first part of the question was talking about sand in bags, but this one now is sand in cubic meters. The principal needs to decide which store to buy the sand from. The price and delivery cost are given in the table below. And of course, you know, the question is the same. From which hardware should the principal buy the sand? Give your reason. So again, I'm giving you a little time to figure this one out. And remember, we're at 4B, so you need to go back to the answers that you got previously, because the answer that you got previously would help you for those persons who not even realize. Remember that on the previous question here, and what we need is me question here. Definitely, I mash up everything now. The internet definitely I mash up everything now. Well, let's see if it can come back here now. All right, so I'm back again. Sorry about that. Internet people, the internet. All right, so 1 minute, 1 minute. All right, my peoples, let's go. So final question. And what would be our answer for this one? Would it also still be Kumar's hardware? That's what I see everybody sending in the chat. Everybody's saying it's still going to be Kumar's for this one as well. I remember that the answer that you still say Kumar's. All right, let's go. Let's check it out. So the first thing it says, the first option that we have is for Kumar's is $400 per cubic meter. All right, so Kumar's. So it's 400 per cubic meter. Well, and this is for the sun. And how many cubic meters did we get? It was 30 cubic meters. When I multiply that, how much money is that going to be? That is 12,000, right? 12,000. And then the delivery. The delivery is still going to be the same 5,000. So what will be my total here? My total here would be 17,000. Then, final thing here now, if we look at one-stop hardware, it's 1,000 per meter if it's less than 15, but 900 per cubic meter if it's 15 or more. Are we going to pay 900 or are we going to pay 1,000? So are we paying 900 or are we paying 1,000? All right, we're paying 900 here. All right, so one stop. Right. So for the sand, it's 900 because we're buying more than 15. We're buying 30 cubic meters. That's going to give me 27,000. And then the delivery here now. All right, so the delivery. Our delivery is still the same 3,000. Yes, our delivery is the same 3,000. So the total here is going to be our 27,000 plus the 3,000. What's my answer? My answer is 30,000. All right, peoples, that is it for us. Thank you guys for all being here. Remember here now before I leave, if anybody is interested in joining my Sunday PEP classes, that's online PEP classes, or if anybody is interested in joining or in having face-to-face sessions with me, either having one-to-one face sessions with me at my tutoring center in Barbican, here is the number right here. You can call that number. All right, so call that number. Let me put it on the screen again as well, because I know for some reason you guys don't pay attention sometimes. So there it is. All right, so you can call that number. Obviously, you know you put your 876 in front of it. All right, everyone. So it was great having you guys here. Good luck in your exams tomorrow. Good luck in your exam tomorrow. For the students who I don't work with, for the ones who I work with, remember, I still need to see you guys a little bit later. So I will tell your parents about that. Probably about in the next hour and a half time or so, I will see you guys in Zoom as well. So you hear that, Miss Mac? You're gonna join me in Zoom late, about an hour and a half time. For all the others, if you're interested, you can still join on there. Just give me a call before you. All right, everyone. So bye-bye, everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Good luck. If you get this in the performance task tomorrow, I am expecting you to mash it right up. All right. So bye-bye, everyone. Thank you guys.